I want you to imagine this. You're standing at your own wedding, finally marrying the person you love. And as you're cutting the cake, your sister grabs the mic and turns your reception into an open mic roast of your worst moments and your ex. And then somehow, you're the one who's overreacting. That was my wedding. I'm 28 and my sister Emma is 31. Growing up, she was always the golden child. She was the pretty one, the outgoing one, the one everyone liked at family gatherings. I was the quieter, more anxious kid who did well in school but never really stood out. Our whole lives have been this weird unspoken competition running in the background. If I had good grades, she'd talk about how she was more street smart. If I mentioned a guy I liked, she'd flirt with him just to prove she could. If someone complimented me, she'd jump in with a story about herself. It was never a big, dramatic thing, more like a thousand tiny stings that you learn to ignore because, well, she's family. When I got engaged to my now husband, Mark, it was the first time I really felt like I had something that was really fully mine. He's calm where I'm anxious, gentle where I'm hard on myself, and for the first time, I felt like I wasn't standing in anyone's shadow. When I told my family about the engagement, everyone was excited. My parents cried, my little cousin screamed, my grandma immediately started asking when she'd get great grandkids, and Emma smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. She hugged me, said, "Wow, I can't believe you beat me to the altar," and laughed. It sounded like a joke. I brushed it off. As we started planning the wedding, I asked her to be my maid of honor. I thought maybe this would be our chance to be close, to have that sister bond I've always wanted. She said yes, and she didn't offer much help. When I sent her dress options, she responded days later. When I asked her to come back to look at venues, she canceled at the last minute. The one thing she seemed genuinely excited about was her speech. She kept saying, "Just wait till my toast. Everyone's going to love it." Every time she said it, something knotted in my stomach. I heard enough of her jokes over the years to know that her idea of funny usually meant me being the punchline. So I tried to set a boundary. A few weeks before the wedding, I said, "Hey, I know you're planning your speech, but please keep it light. No making fun of my past relationships, no embarrassing stories. This isn't a roast. I just want something kind and simple." She rolled her eyes and said, "Relax. You're so sensitive. I know what I'm doing." The day of the wedding was perfect, at first. The ceremony was beautiful. The photos turned out dreamy. I remember standing there holding Mark's hand, thinking, this is it. This is one of the happiest days of my life. We moved into the reception, had dinner, people mingled, and I started to relax. You know that feeling when the hardest part is over and you can just breathe? That's where I was. And then it was time for speeches. My dad first went and gave me a sweet, emotional toast about watching me grow up. Mark's best man told a funny story about college. Everyone laughed. Everyone was smiling. Everything felt warm and soft and exactly how a wedding should feel. Then the DJ announced my sister. Emma walked up to the mic in her fitted bridesmaid dress, heels clicking on the dance floor, hair perfectly curled. She took a breath, smiled at the room, and said, "For those who don't know me, I'm Emma, the bride's older and wiser sister." People chuckled. Fine, normal. She started with a few harmless stories about us as kids. The time I got gum stuck in my hair and she heroically cut half my ponytail off. The time I insisted on sleeping with a nightlight until I was way too old. It was a little embarrassing, but whatever. It was a wedding. You expect some of that. Then she shifted gears. "You know," she said, swirling her champagne glass, "I never really thought this day would come. Not because I didn't believe in marriage, but because I honestly didn't think my sister would ever stop being so dramatic and actually commit to someone. Was this weird, awkward laugh ripple through the room. I saw Mark's jaw tighten slightly. My parents looked down at their plates. She continued, clearly enjoying the attention. She's always been intense. Every little thing was a crisis. Every breakup was the end of the world. God, do you guys remember? And she pointed at the table of our mutual friends. That one relationship that was a whole TV series, seasons 1 through 4. We thought they'd never cancel it. My cheeks were burning. I forced a smile. I could feel eyes turning on me, checking my reaction. Then she went for it. I mean, we all remember her disaster of an ex, right? She exaggerated the name, dragging it out so people knew exactly who she meant. I honestly thought she'd marry him at one point. Thank God she didn't. That would have been a train wreck. The room went quiet. Nobody laughed. A couple people shifted uncomfortably. The ex was abusive and cheating, and it had taken me years to fully get over that relationship. She knew that. She knew how much it hurt me. I saw Mark's hand slide over mine under the table. He squeezed gently, but my face was tight. My mom mouthed, "What is she doing?" Emma just kept going, completely oblivious or completely uncaring. "But seriously," she said, "I'm glad she finally found someone who can handle her. Mark, I hope you're ready for the drama. You're going to need patience and maybe a good therapist." She laughed. Alone. "Anyways, congrats, you two. Let's drink." There was polite clapping. It was the kind of clapping people do when they feel like they're supposed to. I wanted the floor to swallow me. All I could think was, this is my wedding. Why does it feel like I just got humiliated at a high school talent show? When she came back to the table, she looked proud of herself. She leaned down, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "You're welcome." I kept it light. Light? I spent the rest of the reception trying to pretend I was fine. I danced. I smiled in photos. I cut the cake. But there was this loud buzzing in my head, like I was standing next to a speaker that was just a little too loud. Later that night, when we finally got back to the hotel room, I broke down. I took off my dress, sat on the edge of my bed in my slip, and just started crying. Mark sat next to me, wrapped his arm around my shoulders, and said, "That speech was out of line. I'm so sorry she did that to you." I kept replaying it in my head. The part where she didn't think I'd actually ever commit. The part where she dragged my ex into the room like a ghost no one wanted to see. The smirk on her face like she was a star of the show. I texted her that night, "Your speech really hurt me. That wasn't okay." She didn't reply. The next morning, she finally responded with, "You're seriously crying over that? It was a joke. Everyone thought it was funny. Stop being so sensitive. This is exactly what I mean." We left for a honeymoon, and I tried to push it aside. But on the second day, my phone started blowing up. My mom sent a message. "Talk to your sister. She's upset you're ignoring her." Then my aunt chimed into the family group chat with, "I thought Emma's speech was a lot." Another cousin replied, "Yeah, it kind of felt like a roast." Then, when I realized it wasn't just in my head, other people had seen it too. I finally called my mom. She said Emma was going around telling everyone she tried so hard to make the speech funny and that I ruined it by taking everything so personally. She claimed multiple people had told her it was the best speech of the night. They didn't line up with what I heard at all. When we got home from the honeymoon, I decided to have a real conversation with her. I invited her to coffee, and she showed up 10 minutes late, sunglasses on, acting like she was doing me a favor by being there. I told her calmly, "Your speech hurt me. You brought up trauma in front of everyone on what was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life. I asked you not to embarrass me, and you did the exact opposite." She shrugged and said, "You're being so dramatic. People expect funny speeches. I wasn't going to stand up there and be boring. And besides, you really were a mess with that ex. It's not my fault if the truth is uncomfortable." I stared at her. There's a difference between telling the truth and humiliating someone. That's what I mean. I didn't feel like you respected me, or my relationship, or my boundaries. She rolled her eyes. "Oh my God. Everything is always about you. You got the dress, the attention, the ring, the big day. I'm sorry I didn't stand up there and kiss your ass for 10 minutes. Grow up. That was the moment something clicked for me. This wasn't just a one off bad decision. This was who she was. Every small dig over the years, every moment she had to make sure she was on top, had led to this, turning my wedding into her stage. I told her, if you can't even apologize for that, then I don't think I want you in my life right now. She laughed, actually laughed. Wow, you're going to cut off your own sister because she didn't give the speech you wanted? Okay, princess, enjoy your new husband. Don't come crying to me when you scare him off too. I walked out. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my keys getting into the car. After that, things escalated quickly. She started telling her relatives that I was holding the wedding over her head and punishing her for not worshiping me. Some people believed her. I got a couple of texts from extended family members saying things like, she was just being funny, you know how she is, and family is more important than a speech. But there are other messages too. A few guests who were there reached out privately and said, "Hey, I just wanted to say, that speech felt really uncomfortable. You didn't deserve that." One friend told me she saw me force a smile and it broke her heart. At some point, I realized I had a choice to make. I could keep playing this game, letting myself be the butt of her jokes so we could maintain the illusion of a close sister relationship, or I could step back and accept that protecting my peace was more important than keeping up appearances. So I stopped replying to her messages. I left the family group chat on mute. When my mom asked when I was going to make up with Emma, I said, when she can take accountability for how she treats me. Until then, I'm done. It's been months now. She still hasn't apologized. The last thing she sent me was a long paragraph about how I'm selfish, ungrateful, and throwing away 31 years of sisterhood over a misunderstanding. But it's not a misunderstanding, it's a pattern. Sometimes I still replay the moment in my head where she stood at the mic, smiling, enjoying every second of attention, while I sank lower and lower into my chair. I don't think I'll ever forget that feeling. So I did cut my sister off after what she did at my wedding, and I'm still sitting with it, wondering if I did the right thing. What do you think? Was I wrong for drawing that hard of a line, even with family? Or is that the only way to stop being the punchline in my own life?